Okay, I have a new camera, and I've made a few changes on my Miller table I want to point out. One of the things I've done is added some like Scotch-Brite pad across there. What that did was really smooth out the flow of water on my table. The other thing I did was over here on the business end where the water comes in. I used to have a garden hose connection here made out of plastic, but it didn't hold up well and was leaking, and I was getting water all over my floor. So I said, all right, I'm done with that. I'm fed up with it. So I went back to old school and put together a system that seems to work very well. So I don't have any more leaks of water up there, and the system is ready to go. So after pointing out those changes to you, what I'm going to do now is get my material ready, and we'll come back and we'll start recording, and I'll show you what happens with this new layout in terms of sand separation. We were down at the beach 2 weeks ago with a friend, and we had dug a hole about 5 foot deep, got into some really nice looking black sand, and on my gold cube I was able to see the gold showing up on the gold cube before it went down through the riffles and everything. So I'm expecting to find quite a bit of gold in this material. I don't have any pictures of the outing. It was raining cats and dogs, and we had 40-mile-an-hour wind, rain going sideways. It was pretty miserable, and camera wouldn't hold up in that, and if it did, I would probably be chasing it down the beach. So what we're going to do now is get set up, and we'll run some sand on there, and we'll take a look at it and see how it looks. All right, I'll come back. Yeah, we'll put a little more concentrate down on the table. Watching it move down the table. We got pretty good concentration of gold in this. It's not looking bad at all. It's pretty good. And as you can see, the sand is separating, rolling off from it. And when I'm all done with it, then I'll put it right in this little pile over here with this gold. Oh, there it is. So we'll get a little more of this done, and we'll get out the little vacuum tweezer, gold pickup vacuum that I made, and we'll pick it all up with that, and we'll see how well that works. So in the meantime, we're working this down. Well, as you can see, this is a much richer bunch of sand, concentrates. That gold that you see there on the table is from one little teaspoon. Just one little teaspoon. So I'm going to sweep all that up and put it over here with the rest of it. That really made my little pile look a lot bigger than it was. And let's put another load on. And we'll see if this one is as rich as the last one. When we were watching this stuff down at the beach, if I haven't mentioned it before, on the gold cube, if you take some 100 grit sandpaper and go sideways, 90 degrees to the flow of water down the slick plate on the gold cube, what that'll do is roughen it up just enough so that the gold, this small gold, will stick on there long enough for you to see it. And when I say that we were able to see the gold floating down, that's really what we were talking about. So we had quite a bit of gold showing up as it was going down. So I knew it was pretty rich, but this is kind of surprising to me. A lot of times that pile is all I get for the whole day down there. And that pile right now represents about 4 or 5 little teaspoons. So So we're waiting for it to run down. You can see it looks like this is going to be just as rich. See the gold right in here. It's just sticking with it. Okay, well, it's looking good. I'll rather than have you sit and watch this thing just separate, we'll let it run for a bit, and then I'll turn it back on. But basically, you can see the fine sand, lighter sand rolling down the back of the table, disappearing. If it's not going fast enough, I'll reach in with my brush and just tap right around that breaks it up so that it flows better, and that material will flow right off. And as I've said before on this with the Miller table, the biggest lesson I can tell anybody is there's 3 ways of controlling this. One of them is the amount of water that you put down on the table. The other one is the pitch, how steep. Right now I'm running about 1.5 inches on the back end, and the table's probably over, it's 1.5 inches over about 4 feet. So you can control that and the speed. And then the other thing is time, patience. And the biggest lesson for me on this whole thing has always been just having the patience to wait. Because if you give it long enough, it will separate all the gold and the black sand, and it'll give you a real pretty pile of gold without any black sand in with it. But if you're going to take the time to separate it like this, then you need a way that does a pretty good job without having to go back and do it 2 or 3 times. So now you can kind of see that, yeah, there's a fair amount of gold in this concentrate. It's pretty well concentrated up. Well, let me sweep that into the pile, and then we'll shut this off and we'll come back. And again, I'm using a 1.5 inch sash brush with synthetic fibers on it to sweep my gold around. The sweeping does 2 things. One of course, it piles it up, but the other thing is that it allows the black sand to separate from it a little bit too as you're moving it around. So it helps clean the gold up a little bit. No matter how many times I see this, I'm always amazed at how much gold that looks like that really is. And when you get around to weighing it, how little it actually is. Alright guys, I'll come back. Well, there's the gold in the vial. Having trouble getting it to focus and shine good, but anyway, there it is. That's what it looks like. This is what it looks like after I got done cleaning out my little gold vacuum. I cleaned it as well as I could, and I still found this little bit left in there. So I'm thinking we'll probably not ever anybody build one of those until I get a chance to check it out and figure out what more to do. What was going on is that this gold was coated on the inside of the tube and in the pipe threads. So I think that's a pretty major issue. So until I figure it out, let's not build any of those.